Hello, yeah, I'm Adriaan de Jongh. I'm a game designer, best known for this game called Fingal, and in which people rub each other's fingers, and this mobile dancing game in which two people grab onto one phone and they dance together. Relationships in games. How can a game touch the relationship between two people? I've actually come to believe that relationships consist of two individual people, and they both have their own individual personality traits. So, for instance, someone can be really handsome, like Lorenzo, or, I don't know, someone can speak Italian, like Lorenzo, or someone talks a lot, like, so there can be, in a relationship, there's of course two people, which both, again, have their own personality traits. And if you put these two people together, I think there's like additional traits that apply because those people are together. And they only exist because those people are together. So for instance, if you have, in some weird universe, two Lorenzos, they'll probably like never stop talking. So that's kind of how I started to see a relationship. And I think if you have and add more people, then like it becomes a lot more complex because you have all sorts of additional traits and like the list becomes huge. But what I want to talk about is what happens if you put these people, two people, just to make it simpler to explain, in a game. Because then I think some of these traits are kind of used in a game. For instance, if you go play a game like Counter-Strike, how quickly you can react to like someone firing at you is a trait you have as a person. But what I also think is that if you play a game, like for almost any game, there's also traits that are added. So if you play Counter-Strike, you need to be able to aim your gun. And that's a skill that only exists because you're playing that game. Now, Counter-Strike is one example where, you know, your reaction time is one trait that players use. What the game adds is like strategic insight into the game specifics or that kind of stuff. But if I compare an online multiplayer game to a game like Towerfall, which is a local multiplayer game, I think something really interesting happens, which is I think the game itself adds less traits. It adds less sort of skills that come in the game, and it uses more of the traits of a person. So now, because I'm playing a local multiplayer game, I'm together with other people, and now I can intimidate you with my body, right? So now suddenly that trait is also included. So with this like model, you can look at local multiplayer games and think, well, with local multiplayer games, we already have the ability to use more of the personality traits in the game, and so also more of the personality traits that exist because of relationship, and that's a way to touch relationships. But I don't think this is where like local multiplayer is just like one step away from online multiplayer, because if then you take a game like Fingal where people have to use even more personality traits, like touching each other's hands, that becomes a whole different story, right? Where the game barely adds any extra personality traits to people, but it uses almost everything that people already have. It uses much more of real life. And this kind of suggests that there's also games that, like almost literally nothing, add nothing as personality traits to people. That there's nothing, like you can do extra in the game that's not already part of you. And I think like folk games kind of belong in that category, and probably there's like other kind of categories. So, I forgot what I wanted to say here, but this is kind of what I've been talking about, right? Okay, so if we talk about relationships in games and touching relationships between people through a game, I think this is definitely the part we can design, but also definitely this part. And I really want to kind of illustrate how this part, the interaction part, the part that I call game mechanics, can actually have a huge influence on how you can connect real life. And for that, I actually made Fingal with traditional game mechanics. So that's like, if someone would make a game, and they would, oh wow, I can't even press how do I do this? No! Okay, seriously, does anyone know? No? Okay, we're actually going to increase the resolution. Let's play. There we go. Boop. Done. Play. Okay. So. Oh, what? It's gone? There it is. Okay, so I need a second player. Sure, come join me. WASD and Q&A add or remove fingers. I'm covering the screen. Here we go. So if you now
add a finger
with E. Sorry. Add finger. Add enough fingers, and then I'll take one finger. Okay. And so go up there, and then yeah, exactly. So now think about
this is way better.
The actual physical game, right? Now, which do you think is more awkward? Oh, we already made it?
No.
Oh, you pressed a weird button.
I removed my fingers.
Okay, here we go. Oh. Like, this is still pretty weird and awkward, but I'm pretty sure that because the game mechanics of this game are very different and they don't really include any of the personality traits like me rubbing his fingers and feeling his fingers and my fingers being kind of sweaty right now, this game is less personal.
I feel it in the keys.
So, you feel it in the keys. So this is just an illustration of how not to do it. And I hope that, yeah, if you can still like compare this to this where people are like literally touching each other. So yeah, this is kind of the lesson I wanted to tell you. Make game mechanics out of personal interactions because that uses more of the personality traits in people, and that way you can actually touch the relationship between people. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.